Hello everyone and welcome to my video guide to GRAYDLES. If you don't know what GRAYDLES are, it's very simple. It's a bunch of aliens, take over people's bodies and control them through destruction of themselves, most notably. This deck wasn't really ever good in the competitive TCG. It got a couple of regional wins, but that's the most that I got. And as far as Duel Links is concerned, we got a bunch of GRAYDLE cards in the meta-defining Judgment Force buying box. But unlike Light Swords and Blue Eyes support and stuff, GRAYDLES didn't really have an impact, despite having the card GRAYDLE Impact. The most competitive GRAYDLES were in Duel Links' history was in late 2020 when Shark released as a okay-ish territory of the Shark kind of deck that was before the release of Abyss Dweller and everything. So you just use the GRAYDLES and make GRAYDLE Dragon. That was it. However, thanks to the newly released Majestic Magic main box, we now have all of the missing GRAYDLE cards, so GRAYDLE should be good now, right? Let's get into it. Cards! Starting with the GRAYDLES we got in Judgment Force, we're first taking a look at GRAYDLE Slime. It's a level 5 Aqua Tuner that can target 2 GRAYDLE cards you control and destroy them to special itself from hand or graveyard. GRAYDLE Slime is kind of an extender card for this archetype as weird as it is. I think it's a debatable one-off inclusion. You don't need more than one, but also you probably don't even need the one. GRAYDLE Slime as a son, GRAYDLE Slime Jr. When this card is normal summon, you get to bring back a GRAYDLE monster. And then you can special summon another GRAYDLE monster from your hand. And then if it gets destroyed by battle, you get to special another GRAYDLE monster from your deck. This one is also debatable. You know, it's a floater, but I don't know. Maybe 1-2 of. GRAYDLE Dragon is the boss monster of this archetype. It's a level A synchro that on summon pops as many cards in the field as the number of water monsters used for its synchro summon, usually 2. And if it is destroyed by battle card effect, you get to float into a water monster from your graveyard, but with its effect negated. You know what? We just got one more extra deck slot. You can put this one in it if you're playing the slimes. It's completely fine. It's a fine monster. GRAYDLE Impact is a continuous spell that allows you to pop another GRAYDLE card you control to destroy a card your opponent control, which does trigger some of the GRAYDLE effects, and such as in the end phase, if that's lost me, which is a bit slow. It's a bit slow. You can only use one of the effects per turn, only once that turn. Despite everything, this card is still very important for this archetype. It's slow as molasses, but you probably need 2 to 3 of it. GRAYDLE Split is a trap card that you can equip to your monster, destroy the monster, and then special 2 GRAYDLES from deck, but get destroyed in the end phase, which is a lot of setup and extension and triggers some GRAYDLE effect. It's a trap card, so it's still kind of slow. I don't know, I'm not sure about this one in Duel Links specifically. Maybe it's worth testing with and without. GRAYDLE Combat is a counter trap that if your opponent targets a GRAYDLE monster you control, you can either make it so the effect becomes destroy the monster, or you can just negate the activation and destroy the card. There are too many scenarios in which you're really gonna need this sort of cards. I don't think this one is worth playing despite being a counter trap. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out the King Kai Rabi Gadgets deck list that he used to top a couple of tourneys with back in 2022 that used GRAYDLE Impact to search GRAYDLE Combat so that they always have a counter trap for Rebirth of Powershaft, which is one damn funny way of using the GRAYDLES. GRAYDLE Cobra is the first of the new GRAYDLE support that we're getting. It's level 3 Aqua, and when it is destroyed by battle or by a trap effect, you get to snatch steal a monster that your opponent controls, and if it leaves the field, the opponent's monster is destroyed. This is probably, as the artwork envisioned, the intended target for you to summon with the GRAYDLE Split, and maybe even to destroy with GRAYDLE Split, because it floats off of trap card destruction, which is pretty good. I think this one is a decent 2 for what it is. GRAYDLE Eagle is basically the same thing, except this one cares about being destroyed by a monster effect, like, you know, the Unchained guys, for instance. This one was probably intended to work in tandem with the slime, the big slime that pops monsters in your field. It's a 2 to 3 of. GRAYDLE Alligator is the last one. And this one cares about being destroyed by spell cards. I guess this one was meant to work with Impact. Impact pops it and another card your opponent controls, and then you just get to Alligator steal their monster, which is pretty good. This one I think is the mandatory 3-of due to the aforementioned synergy with Impact. And last but not least, Gradle Parasite is a really funny card that either summons a Gradle from your deck to block a direct attack, or revives an opponent's monster for you to steal when you attack them directly, which is a really funny concept. This card did see play in the Gradle lists in the TCG, but I don't think it's necessary in Duel Links because our decks are just so much more consistent. Additional tech! Gradle have insane synergies with the Kaijus. Basically, you Kaiju a problematic boss monster, and then you summon a Gradle, you run the Gradle into the Kaiju, and then you steal the Kaiju, and then it's all yours. You gotta remember that you can only control one Kaiju when you do, so that... Are you really gonna take a shit right now, Yumi? Alright, I'm waiting. Now that Yumi is done pooping, where was I? Oh yeah, you can only control one Kaiju at a time, so don't do the Gradle steal if you already control a Kaiju that you summon because you gave your opponent a Kaiju. Also, Kyoto Waterfront is a really good spell card. It puts Kaiju counters, but you gotta remember, if you Kaijus to your opponent, they also get to use the Kaiju's effect. Dogorans, for instance, allows them to destroy pretty much all monsters that you control, which maybe don't give them this effect. Despite everything, this is still the best archetype that synergizes with Gradles. Here's a couple more cards that do have some good synergy with Gradles. Metalfurs was one of these archetypes that experimented with Gradles real quick before Zodiacs were a thing. Archfiend Eccentric does double duty as monster and back for removal. Crystron shoutouts to Duel Links free to play. Dark Hole because maybe there's still a monster left to steal after you Dark Hole. Surge Diffler because someone will inevitably try this archetype in a Revolution Diffler deck and I hate them already. And Treacherous Trapple, one of the trap cards of all time. Is this deck going to be good? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. On the plus side for this deck, it's pretty unique in the way that it plays and interacts with your opponents. You're basically saying, okay, well, I'm just gonna take your stuff and you can't really stop me because I'm running my Gradles into your monsters. So it's kind of budget-ish. You're still gonna need a couple of the impacts, and if you decide to play the Kaiju version, there's a bunch of Kaijus that are not really free to play, although most of them are, but it's not the most expensive deck out there. And having tuners means you also have access to some synchro plays, which I think is interesting. On the other hand, it does struggle against back row, very specifically. Stuff like Crackdown and Compulse is gonna ruin your day. It's not really self-sufficient, like you could play pure Gradles as a control-ish kind of deck, but that wouldn't be really good, because your opponent will have more removal than you would have ways to end your opponent, because that's how Yu-Gi-Oh is. And last but not least, the Beast Dweller really ruins this deck's day. It's the worst. Here's a tentative Gradle Kaiju core for you to maybe give a try. Already on 22 cards, and you can still play a bunch of staples. Maybe Books of Moon, maybe a bunch of Limit 3 staples. Maybe remove Brainwashing. Ah, that'd be kind of funny. Holy God seems to be like the de facto scale for this deck, because you just summon a Kaiju and then you run your stuff into the Kaiju. You take no damage. You get the Kaiju back. As for the Kaiju choice, Radiant can potentially extend you. Jizukiro does negate and destroy, which is pretty cool. And Thunder King is pretty much a great game ender. And that'll be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Are you interested whatsoever in the Gradle archetype? The main bot just came out, but I bought a couple. I bought 30 packs, including the 3 10 packs, and I already have a complete Gradle deck list. So that's something that I'm gonna try in the near future, maybe. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Thanks in particular to Dingust, Owdish Boy Zero, Jimmy, Zinnia, and Yannick for their donations on Ko-fi. If you'd like to support me, make sure to like the video, comment, and maybe even check out my Ko-fi and maybe make a donation there. And until I write some other fun guide for another archetype, maybe Time Thieves, I will see you all next time.